Hey guys, it's the Pink King here. Welcome back to Jurassic June. As always, if you're new here, go watch my first video of this series. You'll get an understanding to what I'm going to be doing here and in my series continuing on. So go watch that and then come right back here. That's right, 14 years of speculation and fan desperation later, we've finally got a new Jurassic movie, with it being called Jurassic World, to start what we didn't know at the time, a new trilogy. Now before we begin, I just want to say, this was the first Jurassic movie I ever saw on the big screen. I was a kid, so it was quite rare for me to ever go to a cinema, but when this movie came out, I did everything I could to go watch it. And I just loved it. It was like nothing I had ever seen before. It was epic. It was giant. There was dinosaurs. It was a memory I will never forget for as long as I live. So naturally, you might assume I hold some nostalgia for this movie. So when it was time for me to rewatch it again, I decided to make sure I wasn't having a fog of nostalgia and see what other people thought of this movie. And wow, this movie has apparently really divided people, as a lot of them were constantly saying it was overrated. So when rewatching it, I had only one question to answer. Was it as good as I remembered, or was it indeed overrated? To answer this question, let's talk about the movie first. First thing I want to say, it's actually quite refreshing. Now I know that this movie has the same running from the dinosaurs in the jungle again, but here they actually implement some new fresh ideas to keep it original, with the smart idea of having the park actually open for once, with people inside it, having a fairly large variety of dinosaurs, both old and new, and even introducing the concept of trainable dinosaurs. It was all very interesting to see and answered a lot of questions people had for years now. But, of course, the idea that became instantly iconic was the inclusion of hybrids. Oh yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Specifically, the Indominus Rex. Now, despite the concept feeling cheap nowadays, the Indominus Rex was and still is incredible to watch. They managed to correct the mistakes of Jurassic Park 3 and actually make dinosaurs scary again. Watching the mystery of this hybrid unfold as we discover what it's capable of was very effective. It was such a great villain with its chilling design, looking like a true monster. Alongside how they shot it, it was masterfully shot. You could really feel the scale and the terror of this thing, and it was so effective. But of course, the final battle, it was just perfect at the end, with the idea of having the classic dinosaurs face off against the new monstrosity, with the reveal of Rexy, the inclusion of Blue, to the Mosasaur attack. It was exactly what this franchise needed again, something truly iconic. Speaking of Blue, I thought the new take on the Raptors was actually a pretty great idea. The idea of people trying to force dinosaurs into the military, as stupid as it is, it did feel rather believable. Like people would actually try to do this in real life, and I love the answer they give for this conundrum. Allowing the animals to be. It reminded me of what John Hammond said in The Lost World. These creatures don't need our help but require our absence. So for me, I think that was a beautiful full circle moment. However, don't get me wrong. Despite how good a lot of this movie is, there's still a lot of problems in here, one being the lack of practical effects. For a franchise that was built off the idea of combining both practical and CGI, it definitely feels cheap to use mostly CGI. And another reason why that's so unfortunate is because a lot of the CGI here feels inconsistent. There are some incredible shots, but there's also some shots where the quality takes a nosedive, and comparing it side by side, it's quite noticeable at times. Secondly, the characters. They're not at all special, and feel way too stupid for their own good. I'm not the first to mention this, but a lot of dumb mistakes are made here that pull you out the movie, especially with how the Indominus Rex escapes. It had such a great setup, but the payoff was just so stupid that it felt unbelievable and just annoying to watch. Nobody here has the same charm as the original characters, and it all feels too cookie cutter, which is strange because there's potential here. Specifically with Claire, the idea of having this girl who's very business heavy be forced to put that aside and go save her nephews is an idea that could work, but ultimately ends up falling a bit flat. So, in conclusion, is Jurassic World overrated? Yes and no. Jurassic World is nowhere near as bad as 3, but it's not as good as the original. It's sort of in the middle ground, where they do a lot of great things, but unfortunately they hold it back themselves with a lot of mediocre to just plain bad things. But for me, I still really like this movie. It holds a very special place in my heart and always will mean something to me. So, for everything here, I'm going to give this movie a solid 7 out of 10. Nothing groundbreaking, but it's not a bad movie. Or trick to everyone, as some grifters like to believe. But what did you guys think of this movie? Was it good or mediocre for you? Let me know in the comments. Next time, I'll be going into Fallen Kingdom, so if you want to see that, then subscribe to see that next. And with that, I will see you all next time.